Hello, my amazing students. I'm so happy to see you here today. Whether you're watching this at home, on your way to work, or relaxing after a long day, thank you for joining me. I want you to stop whatever you're doing and really listen, because what I'm about to share with you can truly change your life. Yes, I mean it. This is not just another English lesson. This is something different, something powerful. In this episode, I want to talk to you from the heart. I want to tell you something very important, something that many people don't hear often enough. English is not difficult. English is not impossible. Let's say that again together. English is not difficult. English is not impossible. You can speak English fluently, and you can do it faster than you think. I know some of you might feel nervous or even shy when speaking English. You may think, my English is bad, or I always make mistakes. Maybe you've studied English for years, but when the moment comes to speak, you freeze. Your mind goes blank. I completely understand. And you're not alone. But today, I want you to forget all that. Forget the fear, forget the doubts, because from this moment on, we are going to change your mindset, your habits, and your results. In this episode, I will guide you step by step on how to speak English naturally, confidently, and without fear. We're going to make English a part of your daily life, and you're going to enjoy it. Are you ready? Let's begin this exciting journey together. All right, let's talk about something that many of you might be facing right now. Something that I know can be frustrating and discouraging. If you're feeling nervous or afraid to speak English, trust me, I completely understand. In fact, it's one of the most common struggles that learners face, and you're not alone in this. You see, many of us come to a point where we've been studying English for months or even years. We've memorized vocabulary, learned grammar rules, and practiced reading and listening. But when it's time to speak, something happens. We freeze. We get stuck. We hesitate. It's like your mind just goes blank, and suddenly, all the words you've learned seem to disappear, even though you know you understand English when you hear it or read it. It's frustrating, right? You think, why can't I just speak the way I understand? Why is it so hard to put sentences together when I'm speaking? It feels like there's an invisible wall between your thoughts and your ability to speak, and that wall is made up of fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged, fear of saying something wrong, or worse, being laughed at. And that fear can keep you from speaking as much as you want, or even from trying at all. And I know many of you can relate to this because I've been there too. I've been on the other side of the fence, struggling with learning a new language. Let me tell you a little bit about my own experience. When I first started learning a second language, I was so excited. But when it came time to speak, I would get nervous. My heart would race, and I would completely freeze up. I remember one particular moment. I had spent weeks learning all the grammar rules and new vocabulary. And finally, I was in a situation where I could speak with a native speaker. I had the chance to practice everything I had learned, but as soon as the conversation started, my mind went completely blank. I knew the words, I knew how to form the sentences, but for some reason, when I tried to speak, I felt like I had forgotten everything. I remember stumbling over simple words, second guessing myself, and feeling embarrassed when I couldn't finish a sentence. I was so focused on trying to get everything perfect that I couldn't even enjoy the conversation. And when I did manage to speak, I was terrified of making mistakes. It was overwhelming, and I felt like I was taking 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. So, I know exactly what it's like to feel stuck in that cycle of hesitation, to feel like you're doing everything right, but somehow still struggling when it's time to speak. I know how it feels to want to say something, but not have the words come out the way you imagined. But here's the thing, the problem isn't you. The problem is the fear that holds you back. It's the fear that makes you second guess yourself and doubt your abilities. And it's this fear that keeps you from expressing yourself freely in English. When I first started, I believed that learning a language was about being perfect. It was about knowing every rule and memorizing every word. But what I didn't realize was that language learning is not about perfection. It's about communication. It's about making mistakes, learning from them, and improving along the way. In fact, mistakes are one of the best ways to learn. The more mistakes you make, the more you will improve. But when we let fear take over, we stop ourselves from making those mistakes. We hold ourselves back from trying, and that's what keeps us from becoming fluent. Another big issue is nervousness. Many learners experience physical symptoms when it's time to speak: sweaty palms, a racing heart, dry mouth, or even a shaky voice. This nervousness can be so overwhelming that you forget what you were going to say, or worse, avoid speaking altogether. The more nervous you get, the more difficult it becomes to form your thoughts clearly. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to speak, but you couldn't find the words? Or you were afraid that your accent would make you sound strange? I've been there. It's that feeling of hesitation that makes speaking feel like a challenge, even though you're perfectly capable of doing it. And then there's the frustration of years of study. You've probably studied English for a long time. Maybe you've even taken classes, watched videos, or read books. But despite all your hard work, speaking still feels difficult. You might have learned grammar rules and vocabulary, but when it comes time to speak, you feel like you're missing something. Why isn't it working? Why is it so hard? Well, here's the truth. Learning to speak a language is not just about knowing the rules. It's about using the language regularly and, most importantly, using it without fear. You need to practice speaking in real-life situations, even if it's just talking to yourself. It's easy to get discouraged when you put in all that effort and don't see immediate results. But let me tell you, your effort is not wasted. Everything you've learned is building the foundation for your fluency. The key is to stop focusing on the fear and start focusing on using the language in real conversations. It's time to break free from the cycle of fear and hesitation. The goal is not perfection, but confidence in your ability to communicate. English isn't about being flawless. It's about expressing yourself and being understood. And the more you speak, the more you'll improve. So, I want to ask you, what's holding you back? Is it fear, nervousness, or the feeling that you're not ready yet? Whatever it is, I want you to know that it's okay. Every learner goes through this. It's part of the process. The important thing is to keep moving forward, to keep practicing, and to stop letting fear control your progress. We'll talk more about how to overcome these fears in a moment, but first, I want to remind you, you're capable. You already know more than you think, and the more you practice, the more confident you will become. Now that we've talked about the struggles and challenges you face when trying to speak English, let's focus on the solution. The good news is, you don't need to spend countless hours in a classroom or buried in grammar books to become fluent. In fact, I'll let you in on a little secret. You don't need to study English. You need to live English. Yes, you heard that right. Live English. What do I mean by that? I mean that English should become a natural part of your life, just like your native language. Think about how you learned your first language. You didn't sit down with a grammar book when you were a baby. You didn't memorize lists of vocabulary words. No, you learned by listening, mimicking, and repeating. You learned by being immersed in the language every single day, by hearing it, using it, and making mistakes along the way. This is the same approach we need to take with English. It's not about sitting down for a few hours of study each day and then forgetting everything the moment you leave the classroom. It's about creating a life where English is everywhere you go, in everything you do. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But how do I live English? How do I make it a part of my daily life? Don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Here's the truth. Fluency doesn't come from studying English in isolation. It comes from living it, from using it in real-life situations, and from making it feel like a natural part of who you are. And that's exactly what we're going to do together. First, let's talk about changing your mindset. I want you to stop thinking of English as something that you only practice during a set time of the day. English is not a subject, it's a tool. It's the tool you'll use to communicate, to express yourself, and to connect with others. The moment you shift your mindset from studying English to living it, everything changes. This is how we're going to make English easy and natural for you. You don't need to memorize hundreds of new words every week. You don't need to follow strict grammar rules or get everything perfect. What you need is to start using English in your daily life in the simplest ways possible. For example, one of the easiest things you can do is surround yourself with English. I'm talking about the environment you create around you. It's not enough to just study English for 1 hour a day and then forget about it. You need to make English a part of your day, every single day. And I'm not just talking about reading English books or listening to English podcasts. Those are great, but we need to go deeper than that. Imagine this. What if you changed the language on your phone to English? Every time you check your messages, use an app, or browse through social media, you're seeing English. Every time you make a decision or take action, you're practicing English without even thinking about it. Or what if you started thinking in English throughout the day? Instead of translating everything from your native language to English, start thinking in English directly. When you wake up in the morning, instead of thinking, I need to get ready for work, think, I am getting ready for work. When you're eating lunch, think, I'm eating a sandwich. By doing this, you'll start to make English feel natural, as if it's just the way you think. Another powerful tool is speaking to yourself in English. I know this might sound strange at first, but trust me, it works. You can practice your speaking skills every day, even if no one is around. Stand in front of the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. Talk about your day, what you're doing, or what you plan to do. The more you speak, the more comfortable you'll feel with the language. In fact, I want to challenge you to start talking to yourself in English today. Describe your surroundings, your feelings, or your plans in English. Don't worry about making mistakes. Just speak. This is how you start living English, by making it a part of your daily life and using it in every situation you can. And it's not just about speaking. You can practice writing in English too. Start by writing short sentences or even keeping a journal in English. It could be as simple as writing down what you did today, how you felt, or your goals for tomorrow. The more you write in English, the more you'll improve your vocabulary, your sentence structure, and your overall understanding of the language. Another key part of living English is to consume English content regularly. This means watching movies, listening to music, reading books, and engaging with any content that is in English. But here's the key. Don't just consume it passively. Try to engage with it. Sing along with songs, repeat what you hear in movies, or even try to explain what you've learned from books in your own words. This will help you internalize the language and make it more natural to use. Finally, let's talk about making mistakes. One of the biggest fears we have when learning a new language is the fear of making mistakes. But let me tell you something. Making mistakes is one of the best things that can happen to you. Mistakes are not failures. They are opportunities to learn. Every time you make a mistake, you are one step closer to mastering the language. So, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Embrace them. They are part of the journey. So, here's my promise to you. I will show you how to make English easy and natural. You don't need to study endlessly. You don't need to spend hours memorizing grammar rules or stressing over perfect pronunciation. What you need to do is start living English. Use it, practice it, and make it a part of your everyday life. And as you do this, I promise you that English will become easier, more natural, and more fun. You're not just learning a language, you're learning a new way of thinking, a new way of communicating, and a new way of connecting with the world. So, let's make English a natural part of your life, starting today. Together, we'll make this journey simple and enjoyable. Change your mindset. The first and most important step in your English learning journey is to change your mindset. Everything begins with how you think. If you believe that learning English is hard or impossible, your brain will resist it. But if you start thinking that English is easy and achievable, your progress will accelerate. Believe English is easy. The way you approach English will make a huge difference. Instead of focusing on the challenges, focus on the possibilities. I want you to start believing that English is a natural and simple language. Whenever you think about English, tell yourself that it's easy. Whenever you feel unsure, remind yourself that you are capable of mastering it. Think of it like learning to walk. When you were a baby, did you stop trying every time you fell down? Of course not. You got up and kept trying. Learning English is the same way. It's not about perfection. It's about consistent effort. Replace fear with confidence. Fear is often the biggest barrier to speaking English. Many of us fear making mistakes, fear being judged, or fear not being understood. This fear creates hesitation and nervousness, which keeps us from practicing and speaking confidently. Instead of fearing mistakes, embrace them as part of the learning process. Every mistake is an opportunity to improve. By replacing fear with confidence, you'll be able to speak more freely and naturally. Use positive affirmations. One powerful tool to shift your mindset is the use of positive affirmations. Every day, tell yourself, I am learning every day. Say it out loud and believe it. Every day, you're improving. Another affirmation you can use is, I can speak English. Repeat these affirmations every time you feel doubtful. The more you say these phrases, the more your brain will begin to believe them, and your confidence will grow. Surround yourself with English. Once you've changed your mindset, the next step is to surround yourself with English. The best way to get comfortable with the language is to immerse yourself in it. You don't need to live in an English-speaking country to do this. You can create your own English environment right where you are. Change your phone language. One simple but effective way to surround yourself with English is to change the language on your phone. Every time you check your phone, you'll be looking at English text. This constant exposure helps your brain get used to English and creates a natural learning environment. It's like having mini language lessons all day, every day, without even trying. Think in English. Thinking in your native language and then translating it into English can slow you down when speaking. To speed up the process, start thinking in English directly. At first, It may feel awkward, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. For example, when you wake up, think, I'm waking up. When you're eating, think, I'm eating my breakfast. This will make speaking English feel more natural. Talk to yourself in front of the mirror. I know this might sound strange, but talking to yourself in English is one of the best ways to improve your speaking skills. Stand in front of a mirror and have a conversation with yourself. It could be as simple as describing your day or talking about what you're going to do next. By doing this, you're practicing speaking without the fear of making mistakes. Plus, it's an excellent way to build your confidence. Label things around you. Another great method is to label things in your house with their English names. For example, you can write the word book on a piece of paper and stick it on your bookshelf. Every time you see that word, you'll be practicing English. Do this for everything around you: your fridge, your table, your door, etc. This will help reinforce vocabulary and help you remember English words. Use simple sentences all day. Throughout your day, use simple sentences in English. For example, when you're cooking, say, I'm cooking lunch. When you're walking outside, say, the weather is nice today. By speaking simple sentences all day, you're reinforcing your learning and becoming more comfortable with speaking English in real-life situations. Stop worrying about grammar. Many learners get stuck because they're too focused on perfecting grammar. They feel that they need to memorize all the rules and use them correctly before they can start speaking. This approach can be frustrating and slow down your progress. Learn by copying real sentences. Instead of memorizing grammar rules, focus on learning real everyday sentences that you hear from native speakers. For example, instead of worrying about verb tenses, learn useful phrases like, I'm going to the store, or she's eating lunch. When you hear a sentence you like, copy it exactly. This will help you understand how the language flows and how grammar naturally fits into sentences. Speak first, grammar will follow. The key to learning a language is to speak first and worry about grammar later. Start using the sentences you've learned in your daily life, even if they're not grammatically perfect. The more you speak, the more your grammar will improve over time. Just like how babies don't worry about grammar, but still learn to speak correctly, you can focus on communication first and let grammar naturally come into play. Repeat what native speakers say. Another effective way to improve your speaking is to repeat what native speakers say. Watch TV shows, movies, or listen to podcasts in English, and repeat the sentences that stand out to you. Don't just listen passively, speak along with the speakers. This will help you improve your pronunciation and fluency. You can also record yourself speaking and listen back to identify areas for improvement. Focus on communication, not perfection. Lastly, stop aiming for perfection. The goal is not to speak perfectly, but to communicate effectively. You don't need to know every rule of grammar to express yourself. The more you focus on communicating and getting your message across, the easier it will be to speak confidently. Remember, every mistake you make is a chance to learn and improve. By following these steps, changing your mindset, surrounding yourself with English, and not worrying about grammar, you will begin to see your English skills grow in ways you never imagined. English will become a natural part of your life. You won't be studying English anymore. You'll be living it. And when you start living English, you'll speak it more confidently and fluently, faster than you think. Let's start this journey together. Step by step, we'll make English easy and natural for you. The next step in mastering English is incorporating it into your daily life practice. The best way to improve your speaking skills and build fluency is by using English throughout your day. This approach ensures that English becomes a natural part of your life, not something you only practice during your study sessions. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to practice. Simply start using English in everything you do. Use English in your routine. The first key to making English a part of your daily life is to use it in your routine. Think about all the tasks you do throughout the day: brushing your teeth, making breakfast, walking to work, talking to friends, or even watching TV. All of these moments can become opportunities to practice English. For example, when you're brushing your teeth, instead of thinking in your native language, say to yourself in English, "I am brushing my teeth." When you're cooking, you can say, "I am chopping vegetables," or "I am making lunch." Every single action, no matter how small, can be described in English. It's as simple as turning your routine into an English-speaking experience. Talk about what you're doing as you move through your day. Talk about what you're doing in English. This may feel a bit awkward at first, but the more you practice, the more natural it will feel. For example, when you're getting dressed, you can say, "I am putting on my shoes," or "I am wearing a blue shirt today." This habit can be a game changer for your fluency. By practicing as you go, you'll start using English more instinctively. It's important to remember that speaking doesn't always require a conversation. You don't need to wait for someone to speak with you in English to practice. You can create a practice environment by simply talking to yourself about everything you're doing. This way, English becomes part of your life, just like any other language you might use. Treat your day as an English-speaking experience. Another effective method is to treat your entire day as an English-speaking experience. This doesn't mean you have to speak English all the time, but aim to use English during key moments. If you work or study in an environment where English isn't the primary language, set times or activities during the day where you actively engage with English. For instance, while walking outside, you could think in English like, "It's a beautiful day today," or "The sky is blue." This helps you practice thinking in English and makes it easier to speak it later. During meals, instead of simply focusing on the taste or feeling, you can think about your food in English. "I am eating rice and chicken," or "This is a delicious meal." Even if you are speaking to people in your native language, you can practice by mentally translating what you're saying into English or by preparing a sentence in English before speaking it. If you're in a meeting or in casual conversation, try to use English phrases that you've learned before. Little by little, you will see how much easier it becomes to think and speak in English. Create a mini English environment. If you want to take it a step further, consider creating a mini English immersion environment within your day. For example, you can set up English-only periods, maybe an hour in the morning where you only think and speak in English. Or you could set a challenge for yourself during the afternoon to speak English while you're at home. Use this time to immerse yourself completely. Watch English content, read English books, and even try to speak to people in English if you can. It's also important to listen to English content throughout the day. While commuting, you can listen to podcasts, audiobooks, or music in English. It's a great way to improve your listening skills while going about your normal activities. Immerse yourself in English wherever possible, whether through music, TV shows, or social media in English. This constant exposure will make the language feel more familiar and less intimidating. Celebrate small wins. As you integrate English into your daily routine, remember to celebrate the small victories. For example, if you've successfully used English to describe your daily tasks or have held a brief conversation in English, acknowledge that achievement. Recognizing your progress, no matter how small, will boost your confidence and motivate you to continue using English every day. By incorporating English into your routine and treating each day as an English-speaking experience, you'll gradually notice how much more comfortable and confident you become in using the language. The more you practice, the easier it will be to speak fluently. The key is consistency and using English in as many areas of your life as possible. This daily practice doesn't just help you improve your speaking, but it also strengthens your thinking and listening skills. Keep practicing and make English a natural part of your life. You'll see amazing progress before you know it. You've made it this far, and I want you to remember one powerful thing. You already know English. You just need to activate it. That's right. Everything you need to start speaking fluently is already inside you. You've learned the vocabulary, you understand the grammar, and you know how to construct sentences. What's left is to start using it. The barrier you've been facing is not a lack of knowledge, but fear, hesitation, and the belief that English is too hard. But now, you have all the tools to break through that barrier. You just need to trust yourself and take action. English doesn't have to be difficult. It's about taking small steps every day. It's about building that confidence, speaking even when you make mistakes, and continuing to improve. The more you speak, the more natural it will become. English is not something you need to learn in a classroom or study for hours. It's something you live every day. By surrounding yourself with English, changing your mindset, and using the language in your routine, you will gradually become fluent. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you commit to the process. Here's your challenge. I want you to live in English for 7 days. Yes, that's right. 7 days of English immersion. For the next week, make it a goal to speak, think, and even dream in English. Talk about everything you're doing in English, from brushing your teeth to making breakfast, and even when you go to bed. And here's the best part. I want you to share your journey with me. Every day, post a simple sentence in the comments below, your sentence of the day. Share your thoughts, what you did, or even something you learned in English. This will help you stay accountable and motivated. Don't worry if your sentences aren't perfect. The key here is consistency, not perfection. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will become. You'll be amazed at how quickly your confidence and fluency will grow when you make English a part of your life. Let's do this together. English is your new best friend. You've got everything you need to succeed. So, what are you waiting for? Start today, commit to this challenge, and let's take this journey to fluency together. You can do this, and I believe in you. Let's go.